course of human history, for the first time in human history, more than 50% of the people that are now alive live in cities or megacities. So Henry Ford's great solution to get across the farm, or from the farm to the town, or from the town to the railway station, this great solution for the 91% of the people that was going to do a great thing, worked. And the people in the cities in 1903, they were building subways and trolleys, and if they had to go further than they could walk, they built great machines that could carry huge numbers of people on their trolleys and their subways, distances that they needed to run around towns, and that worked. People were not stupid then. But suddenly, after World War II, the automotive and the oil industries are huge. They saw that everybody's moving to cities. And by the way, it's 50% now. So it was 9% of 1 billion. It's now 50% of 6 billion live in cities. And a city needs a car like a fish needs a bicycle. But anyway, we get to 2003, and we have this dilemma that we all claim is a problem. And we're going to fix it by beating up the car companies, which to me is like beating up Boeing, because I can't taxi home. You can't fix that problem that way. Let's define the problem properly. So, let's project forward according to every credible international organization that studies population, demographics. They're telling us, yeah, we know cities are big. We know they're crowded. We know they got slums. We know we have all these problems all over the world. Here's the data. In the next 20 years, all human population growth on this planet will be in cities, all of it. Asia alone expects to move 800 million people into cities in the next 20 years. 800 million people, 20 years. Let's say each city had 10 million people. That's Manhattan. That's 80 cities. I'll do some quick math for you. 80 cities in 20 years, that's one new city the size and density of Manhattan every 6 weeks for 20 years. That's just Asia. Now you can tell me all you want about how we're going to tweak the CAFE standards, we'll make cars 2% more efficient. You can swat at the flies while you're getting trampled by the elephants all you want. If 20 years from today, most of the global population will be living in cities, why don't we address what the real problem is? Let's come up with a neat, convenient, effective way for people to get around in cities. And let's recognize that cars and trucks that have made our standard of life something we take for granted, that use a highway system that's low density, that connects all these cities. The highway systems of the world are literally the eighth wonder of the world. Most of them are big and efficient. They work. Very few people get hurt out there. Most of the 40,000 people that get killed by cars in this country, and the 1.5 million that get put in hospitals every year, it happens at low speeds, looking to park your car, or not running over the kid that ran out between two cars, or not backing over a kid. Understand, when you build a highly dense, pedestrian-based environment and you start running 20-foot-long steel boxes through it that have been designed to go at 60 miles an hour, it's unlikely you're going to get an optimum solution. Nobody in this room, if they were given a major city and said, people used to walk around between all these buildings, and the first floor of all these buildings used to be nice shops, restaurants, but now, since cars can't go up on the roof or into the penthouse, now the first floors of all these cities are these big, cold places where we stack these boxes. They take up most of the space that used to be there to make it a pedestrian-friendly, exciting, uncongested, clean, productive environment. What are we going to do? Any normal person would say, why don't we get these boxes just outside the city, let them do what they do really well. If I want to go from Manchester to Colorado, I got a great idea. I'll get in my airplane. I'll spend an hour at 600 miles an hour going 600 miles. Then I'll land at an airport, which if you put a pin in the map, you're never more than 30 miles from anywhere you want to go. Then I'll get into a car that can go 60 miles an hour, down from my 600, but I only have to go for half an hour to the edge of this city. And then when I get to the edge of the city, I got to go that next factor of 10. I'll go down from 600 to 60. From 60, how about down to 6, which is 3 times walking speed. Not very good, you might say. Here's another piece of data. In the same 100 years, all the technical marvels, in 1903, nobody had ever flown. Within this 100 years, how have we done in technology? Well, let's see. We built airplanes. We built spaceships. We would put people on the moon. We just put little robots on Mars. How have we done for the people in the cities? Well, in ancient Greece, you walked from the Theater of Dionysus to the Acropolis by slapping on those sandals, 2 miles an hour. But the city was small, and it worked. Today, you slap on those sneakers, 2 miles an hour. It's the only form of transportation to which technology hasn't only helped it in 2,000 years, it's hurt it, because the cities have lost their density. People confuse density and congestion. They think we're trying to get rid of high density. A city can't work unless the density goes up. We've got to get the congestion down. The way you get the density up and the congestion down is get rid of all the junk that's separating the things that people used to be able to walk between. But we live in a world now where time is so critical to people. Even if you could walk from place A to place B like the Greeks, our sense of time is different. I used to wait for the mail, then a phone, email, wireless pager. We have this instant need. Nobody's going to walk a half an hour anymore. But here's the data. Yep, we did put that rover on Mars in the year 2003, whether you took London or Beijing or New York, the average speed from point A to point B, no matter how you choose to do it, it's about 8 miles an hour. The reason we're all frustrated when we get into a cab or any of these other ideas and go at 8 miles an hour, nobody says, wow, that's 4 times as fast as walking. That's 400% of walking speed. The reason we're frustrated is because every device we've used has been optimized to do 60. And that's what it was doing until I got to the city. But that's a ridiculous assertion. If the city's going to be a place about which high density and human interaction work, you only have to compete with 8 miles an hour. And then you get people out of the cars. All this other data, we'll run out of oil, we can't breathe, we'll melt the caps. That won't do it. Somebody was quoting Stuart Brand as saying, his catalog, they were impressed that it says, you should only buy what you need, not what you think you need. People don't buy what they need. They not even don't only buy what they think they need. What they really need or think they need, they expect is free. Like healthcare, education, air, water, that stuff that they need is free. People buy only one thing, what they want. Alcohol, cigarettes, lottery tickets, mindless nonsense, jet skis, snowmobiles. There's no shortage of us buying stuff. We'll buy it if we want it, not if we need it. If the cars slow down so much in that city that you really stop griping in the back of that cab because it's now not going only 7 or 8, which has got you frustrated, it's going 2, you'll get out and walk because it's your fastest means, and time is the most valuable thing we have. Well, what if you could take a pedestrian environment, which in the next 20 years will be 70% of all human beings? What if you could take that pedestrian environment, it's called a city, and give people an alternative that they could actually go 8 miles an hour? I'm going 8 miles an hour. Supposing you could give them that alternative of going 8 miles an hour without having to change the infrastructure. I don't need runways. I don't need subway tunnels. I don't need hanging gantries. I'm the size and shape of a pedestrian. I stop and back up and move like a pedestrian. But I'm a legitimate option, an alternative to a 3,000-pound machine that was designed for something else. And I left my airplane at the airport. I left my car in an intelligent place just outside the city, a mile away, not where it's the most expensive real estate on the planet. And what if even 10% of the people that live in those cities decided to take an intelligent option because it's fun, it's productive, it's efficient, etc.? Maybe if you offer people something that they want, they would do what's right. In the end, people almost always do what's right after they exhaust all the other alternatives. Are we going to wait until that happens? And I guess I would say to you, I think a lot of people would take this alternative now if we let them. We're acting like it's all these technical problems that haven't been solved. The truth of the matter is technology is not what's inhibiting human progress. It's the inability of major organizations to accept and promote change. I mean, we have a highway department. That makes sense on the highways. We also have a Navy. I don't think they do a lot of work in Arizona. Why is it the highway department that I have to go to in every city to find out if I can put these things in downtown? What the hell is a highway doing in Fifth Avenue?